Emily Wenzel with K-Pop Pilates and Wellness, and let's go through a fundamental Pilates mat class. All right, so find your mat. I'm actually gonna have you start towards the back end of your mat, but for the sake of filming and for the beginning of the class, I'm gonna start in the center and then I'll move to the side. So let's start with the setup. You're gonna have toes in line with the heels, so gaze downward and make sure you're in your parallel position and make sure that they're level, because sometimes one might come right a little bit in front, or you might have just a natural turnout that you don't realize. So the feet, grounding the feet is really important. And think of a nice triangle. Triangle being the bottom of the, underneath the toe pad of the big toe, the pinky toe, and then the heel. So feel that triangle and just gently tap into those spaces and pulling up lightly through the arches. And then pulling up through the kneecaps, creating some space between the hip bones and top of the ribs, and the chin slightly tucked in. The ears should technically be on top of the shoulders. Some of us tend to come a little bit forward from here. And we're gonna start with just some shoulder rolls here. So let's bring the shoulders forward and then up to the ears, and then back, squeezing the shoulder blades back, and then down. So an inhale up to the ears, back, and then exhale down. So shoulders round forward, up to the ears, squeeze the shoulder blades back and then down. And then we'll reverse that. So first, slide the shoulder blades down, squeeze the shoulder blades back, up to the ears and around in front. And inhale back and around. Hopefully your feet are still grounded, and also gaze, or in your mind's eye, feel if you're a pretty even distribution of weight on your left and your right foot. Sometimes we tend to put a little bit more weight on one foot and not realize that. All right, so then shoulders up to the ears. Some of us live like that. That's kind of a bummer. So then let's just release it down. So an inhale and then exhale. Inhale, exhale, one more. Good. And then just kind of shake everything out, loosen it up, and then start to draw inward, everything inward. So we're gonna start with hands into a diamond position, place the meaty part of the palms under the front of the hip bones, and then allow the fingers to fall towards the body. My thumbs are closer to the belly button and fingertips closer to the pubic bone. So finding your neutral position, you're gonna maybe tilt, we'll go into a few pelvic tilts. So I'll show you from this angle, tilting the pelvis under, the tail is gonna slide down a little bit, and then tilting the pelvis forward, an anterior tilt, you're gonna bring the hips forward. So find where you can go somewhere in between there without engaging the legs too much, where you feel that your diamond is pretty flat. And every body is unique and special and different. So just honor where you're at today. All right, and then scapular retraction and protraction. So retracting the shoulder blades is squeezing the shoulder blades back, but without the chest popping forward. And then protracting is widening the space in between the shoulder blades. So squeeze and then release, and squeeze and release. One more. Inhale and exhale. And then the breathing is going to be, for Pilates, is going to be more of a rib cage breathing, where you're breathing in and around through the back, and then exhale, knitting the ribs in, pulling the navel back, and think of like a little J scoop back towards the spine and up towards the heart. So an inhale here, and then exhale. So where you have the hands into your diamond position, just slide the fingertips towards the front of the hip bones and bring them in 2 inches and down 2 inches, and just knit everything towards the spine. So all those small intrinsic muscles holding between the navel and the spine will bring everything together and engage. All right, you're all set up now. So I'm gonna move towards the back of the mat. We're gonna start with our roll downs. So you've got your feet anchored, lengthening up through the crown of the head, reaching the arms towards the ears. I tend to run a little tighter, so if my arms go back, I'm gonna flare out the ribs. Now I'm out of my neutral position. So reaching the arms up, an inhale breath, and you're gonna round forward. Make sure you're not walking the legs out or hips shifting back. So curl through the spine, knit the ribs in, and start to articulate down to where you can. If it's early, then you may just go about halfway. Make sure the head moves with you. So I'm gonna remove this arm so you can see, and then roll back up, and the head's coming with you as an attachment, and hopefully it's staying attached to the spine. And then on the exhale, round through the spine. Hopefully each time you can get down a little bit further. Make sure you're not gripping too heavy with the toes. Think about your triangle. And inhale breath, and really articulate through the spine, curling through the upper, mid, lower back, and then reaching. And if you would like, lift the heart up and maybe start to extend the spine. And exhale, round the spine. And inhale breath. And then exhale, curling up. So again, try to avoid shifting back. I'm shaking because it's a lot of work. And then roll back up. And this time we're going to go all the way down. So if you need to bend the knees, go ahead and bend the knees. And then you're going to plant the hands down onto your mat. Walk it out and into your all fours position. Wrists are going to be underneath the shoulders. Knees are going to be underneath the hips, and try to be as level as possible. Feet can be flat or toes tucked under. I tend to like the toes tucked under just to get that extra little stretch here. So we're going to go into a cat stretch, starting just tucking the lower back downward and the lower abdominals upward, and then begin to press the hands into the mat and round through the spine. The head is going to move with you. And then coming out of there, articulating the spine, and go into a spinal extension. So slide the shoulder blades down, the tail moves up, but still keep everything drawing up here. So avoid the ribs just flaring out. And inhale. And then again, exhale, round through the spine, pressing away, and then curling, and exhale. And then inhale. And this should feel pretty nice. Exhale, lowering the head, pressing into the arms, curling through the spine. The deeper you connect into the core, the more you're going to get that stretch through the back. And inhale. And this time we're going to come into our neutral position here. So ribs stay knitted in and lifted up. Shoulder blades are slightly engaged together and down, so try not to dump in and release everything down, and draw in all the way through the lower abdominals. So keep everything knitted in, and you're gonna release the left leg, and just pretty much at neutral foot, and push away from here. And then more of a challenge, if you're ready, is reaching the right arm. And it's easy to kind of dump down here, so remember to create this space here with the right leg and also with the left arm. So pause here, hopefully my form is right, so the hips are square, and inhale, then switch to the other side. So the transitions should be pretty smooth. As long as you're well connected, there shouldn't be a whole lot of movement. So pushing away from the arm and out of that left leg. Hopefully the hips are square, and inhale breath, and then exhale, bring it back down. So releasing that left foot, and this might be where you're at. Make sure the head isn't hanging too heavy, so make sure the chin's tucked down. It should be an extension of that upper back. And then make your adjustments and pause. And then exhale, bring it back down. Inhale, thumbs up. We all like a thumbs up. Inhale, and then exhale. Inhale. One more each direction. Inhale. Inhale. Then reach, and I'm just gonna flatten this foot here. Reach the opposite arm, opposite leg, and we're gonna stay on this side and bring the elbow to the knee, flexing the spine. So the head's gonna move with you. Inhale, breath. And then exhale, make sure, try to get the elbow to tap the knee, and gazing out towards the fingers. Exhale. Inhale. 3. Exhale, 2. Inhale. Inhale. And then lower the arm and leg gracefully. And then switch. And reach. First, get your balance and your stability. and then add your mobility. Inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, 3, inhale, 1 more, and lower the arm and leg, and wiggle it out from here, and walk the hands forward, and the hips come forward, and shoulder blades down, and come into just a slight little pelvic tilt, just so the back isn't arching, and again, you're losing frame. So scoop the abdominals up, little glute engagement here, so everything should be active. And if you want a little bit more of a challenge, tuck the toes under, and then from here, the knees lift. So again, the transition should be really smooth, whether the knees are down or the knees are up. You can even bring one knee down, the other leg. So as long as you're holding frame, any of these movements, there should be very little change in the powerhouse. So take one more inhale breath, and then drop the knees, stretch it back, and then keep the elbows lifted up, and just a nice little wiggle side to side, or whatever organic movements that you need here. And then come up to a seated position. Move away some of the flesh, some of your extra love. And we're gonna line up the ankles in line with knees in line with hips here. And then again, make sure the heart stays open and the head stays in a proper position. And we're gonna start just with a partial scoop, the little C scoop, and then a partial roll down, and eventually we'll get all the way down. So reaching the arms, shoulder blades pull back, and keep the shoulders right on top of the hips, and begin to tilt the pelvis under. And then lengthen it back up. Inhale, and then again, exhale. And lengthen and inhale. Exhale. Okay, then we're gonna go a little further back. So on the exhale, tilt the pelvis under, flexing the spine, and now begin to roll back. Keep the feet in the same place, keep the knees and ankles tucked in, tight in together, and remember to keep tucking under here, because the tendency is to kind of lose this articulation. Then we're gonna straighten and stack the spine all the way up. Inhale, and then again, exhale, tuck under, move away. Your body might be shaking and vibrating, and that's okay. And make sure the heart stays open. It's easy to want to grip here, but instead grip through the center. Okay? And then see if maybe you could tuck under a little bit more. And then straighten it back up. And inhale. And again, exhale, tuck, and then continue to roll back. Slide the shoulder blades back, and then continue to tuck under. So hold it here. We're gonna put a twist on things. So really try to keep the lower half engagement. If you're feeling too much in the legs, come up a little bit more from there. And take an inhale breath, keep the left arm here, and on the exhale, as you twist, try not to lean side to side. Just rotate from the axis here, and the lower half should stay steady. And gaze at that back hand, and then inhale center, twist to the other side, exhale, like you're wringing out a wash rag. Inhale, and then twist and exhale. Sometimes I'll see somebody leaning to the back, so make sure you're rotating from here and the pelvis stays in that neutral position. So knees stay level, feet stay level. And so we'll just do one more each side. Exhale, twist, keep exhaling. Inhale, exhale, twist, twist, twist. And back to the center, and then with grace, roll all the way down, keeping the heart and the chest open. All right, and then slide back. If you need support for the head, this is an important part, because you don't want the head to be, or the chin to be gazing upward, and then the chest comes up. It's gonna be hard for you to access your core engagement. So make sure shoulders aren't rounded forward. So again, if you need support in this neck or the head, make sure you've got that handy. So we're gonna stick with that neutral position. If you need to go into a few pelvic tilts to find that at first, tuck under, imprint that lower back, and then bring the pelvis forward. Sometimes, and plus it just feels good. Try to disengage if you're using the glutes or the quadriceps or the hip flexors, try to disengage there and just really connect. It's gonna be a smaller, more intrinsic movement. So the diamond, your diamond that we made earlier, should be pretty flat unless you have a certain condition or situation that you need to imprint. So honor that. And then we're gonna go into tabletop. So you'll take an inhale breath, and then on the exhale, knit the ribs in. I'm gonna lift one leg up and hopefully not shifting over to the side. And then the other leg comes up into tabletop and draw everything in. Try not to push the belly out. Draw everything in and up here. So the idea is to hold more from the center than you do the weight of the legs. This is very important. So we're gonna take the right leg, reach the right leg out, left leg in. If you need, this right leg can come up. Try not to pop the ribs in here. And again, the pelvis staying level and neutral. So this is really important. And then switch, single leg stretch, switch. If you want to add the arms, we're gonna reach this left arm and bring the right knee into the center. Make sure the head stays neutral, and then switch, reach the right arm. The tendency sometimes is the hip to swing up or swaying side to side. So be really mindful with your position. Inhale and exhale, or you can be up higher. So we're gonna do one more each way, and then come back to the left leg and hold it here. Take an inhale breath and tuck the chin. When you lift the head and the upper back, everything's gonna move in one unit. And then place the hand down, pressing into the ankle, and then press the foot up into the hand. So now you can lift up. And just, again, fixing that form if you need to make any arrangements, and then switch. Exhale. And ideally, this ankle, you shouldn't be able to see it. It should be playing hide and seek where it's really in proper alignment. 3, 2, and 1. And tuck both knees in, a little lift, and then come back down. And then we're gonna bring one leg up and one leg out. Hands can come down by the side, pelvis stays in that neutral position, and then yours might be a little wider or smaller. Again, just to where you can hold frame, so be careful of the ribs staying knitted in. So pretending like we're walking, and add a second pump with both legs towards you and away. 2 more each, and 1 more each. So take an inhale breath, then you're gonna reach with the arms, shoulder blades back. So at first it's gonna come closer to the back of the knees, and watch the hips that somebody doesn't swing up and over to you. So 1, 2, 3, 2, exhale 1, and then take another inhale breath. Then lift the head and the chest if you choose. Take another inhale breath here, and exhale 2 pumps. Exhale 2, inhale, exhale 3, 2 more, exhale, inhale, 1 more. And then tuck both knees in, give yourself a nice little hug, and if you can, ideally rock and roll yourself up. If you need to, you could always come to one side and come up. But if you can't, start to tuck the knees in and then roll it up. And we're gonna move it and roll like a ball. This one's always fun. You have a ball. So on this one, you're gonna reach the arms towards the ankles and curl through the spine, but try not to pump the knees in and out, because then you're using a little momentum over the legs instead of really activating through the core. So we're gonna take an inhale breath, and then on the exhale, roll back, lift the hips, and then come back up to your start position. Inhale, exhale, and come back up. And just make sure the head's moving with you. Try to be really aware and cautious of the cervical spine. 2 more. Inhale, exhale, rolling back. Inhale, and hold, Lift the heart and the chest. Release the hands. You could stay here if you want a little bit more. Maybe reaching the arms up. If you want a little bit more, maybe reaching the legs out. If you want a little bit more, reaching the arms with the legs out. Hold for 5, 4, keep the heart lifted, 3, 2, and then bring it all the way down. All right, so we're gonna move into some sideline work. We'll come to the left side and wrist underneath the shoulder. Knees gonna slide back, right leg stays nice and long. If you already have a Pilates practice and if you've got any injuries on the arms, you could do this on your forearm or sideline all the way down. So we're gonna kind of work our way up from here, then to the forearm and sideline. So heart, shine that heart forward. I know sometimes you wanna gaze down to see what's going on, but just remember also to try to shift the head back. So heart stays lifted. Make sure, even though we're working through this side, you also wanna feel the side oblique, so try not to let that left hip just take over. So we're gonna take an inhale. You're gonna point and bring this leg up and flex and bring it back down. So point and lift and flex and lower. And I've got my hand here because then I can see if I'm kind of dumping into the side and then I lose form here. So point and lift and flex and lower. 2 more. Inhale. And 1, and then lift. So you can have the hand here, you can move it up or move it up, and then start to bring the leg forward, point forward, and then flex back. And point forward and flex back. So hopefully you feel like you've got to control it a lot like I do here. Exhale, inhale, 1 more. And then bicycle, so bring it forward, bend the knee, flex forward, point, bend the knee. Exhale, inhale, flex, exhale, point, inhale, exhale, and then we're gonna reverse. We're almost there. Exhale, flex back, point, exhale, flex, inhale, exhale, inhale, 1 more. Inhale, good. Now lower this leg and then slightly push off of this left arm and then reach the right arm and a nice big stretch over. So an inhale here and then lift out of this left side and exhale. Make sure the head moves with you too. Push the hips forward a little bit. If you're rounding forward and you might need that, that's fine. I like to try to stack the shoulders here. So another inhale breath. Reach up through this left side and then exhale over. We'll do 1 more because it feels delicious. Inhale and exhale. Then we're gonna come onto the forearm. So make sure you've got that retraction that we did earlier. So pull the shoulder blades back, knees gonna bend, bottom knee bends, and anchor down through that right foot, and you're gonna lift up through this right side, left side. And then hand onto the hip, or onto the head, or reaching the arm up, you decide. So exhale. So you can have this forearm with a little bit of energy into it and make sure that that left shoulder is staying back. I don't want you to feel any pressure into the neck. So if you want, stagger the legs and lift and lower. Keep the heart shining forward so the head isn't looking at the toes. Or if you want, stack the legs. 3, 2 more. Inhale, and 1. Now, let's start with bent knees and hold. And we're gonna take this arm and thread it underneath that left arm, but take a look-see at it. And then inhale, and thread it, exhale, really fully exhale. One of the principles of Pilates. Or you can lift up, exhale, twist. Inhale, and really squeeze and tighten the legs. 1 more, exhale, twist, keep exhaling. Inhale, and gracefully lower all the way down. And then we're gonna pull this knee forward, bending the right leg. We call this a Z-sit in Mermaid. And flex this foot. If this is a difficult position for you, make your adjustments if you want to slide the feet in. And we're gonna stretch this left arm up and over. And again, inhale, and lift up through this left side and stretch over. And again, if this arm is rounded forward, you might need, and like that, I typically need a little bit more of this stacking of the shoulders. All right, so then we're gonna come side lying. And as you're side lying, you might need a pillow. Make sure the head, you wanna avoid the head being in this position. It doesn't look right and it doesn't feel right. So make sure your head is in a proper position, and then stack the legs and slide them forward. This hand can be here for support, or again, I showed you some other options, but important, you want to try to do the best you can to have some space in this left side body. So the key is that you're not bumping through this left side, and then all of a sudden you see this hip shift forward. So really lengthen through the top leg, and you might not have the space like I do, but you can feel a little bit lighter on the side. And again, the head might want to look and gaze, but then shine the heart forward. All right, so we're gonna take this top leg and bring it up with just a soft point, and then the bottom leg, really lift this heel to meet it, and then come all the way down. So make sure this bottom foot isn't turning out and trying to get the toes to when you want the heels to come together. And then top leg, inhale, bottom leg comes to meet it, and exhale down. So top, bottom, inhale, and exhale down. 2 more, in, and exhale, 1 more, inhale, and exhale. So we're gonna take this top leg and bring it up, and we did the leg sweeps when we were on arm. So this time we're gonna go into an internal rotation without the upper body swaying forward and back, and bring this leg forward. And then turning external rotation without the hip shifting back, and then sweep the leg back. So it's not gonna be a very big movement. Turning in and sweep forward, and then turning out and sweep back. Turning in and sweep forward, turning out and sweep back. 1 more. Exhale and inhale, and then do that reverse. So on the exhale, sweep the heel forward, then turn in and back. And again, check your position here that the hip isn't swinging up, and then you dump into that side. That would be a no-no. And then exhale forward, turning in and back. Last one, exhale and turning back. Now go in a parallel and leg circles. So bring it forward, back, and around, just to where you can control. Exhale, inhale, 2 more. Exhale, 1. Good, and then reverse. Inhale, exhale, around for 5, 4, inhale, exhale, 1 more. And then bend this knee. We're gonna give it some love for a nice little stretch, and then reach this right arm back, and take your left hand, and on the exhale, just stretch. I like to pet it and go all the way down towards that side. And then take another inhale breath through this right side, and then again on the exhale, gaze over to the right. 1 more, inhale, and exhale. All right, then we're gonna shimmy over our bellies into what we call a prone position. So we're gonna start with the elbows just slightly bent and the pubic bone into the mat, so you might need to tilt the pelvis under a little bit. Legs a little bit active. They shouldn't be dead weight, but I don't want them to completely take over. And then on the inhale, you're gonna lift the upper back. So see if you can access more the upper and the mid back, not just into the lower back. So you wanna co-contract from the abdominals and also from the spine. Make sure the head isn't trying to help you and kind of whip the head back. So on the inhale, lift, and then you're gonna look over to the right side, smile at the camera, and then look over to the left side, and then come back to the center and lower. And again, lift, inhale, and exhale, side. Actually feels pretty good. And side, and it ensures you're not too tense here. And then look over to the right side and lower onto the left cheek. And if you want, you can add the legs lifting and look to the left and look to the right. And this time look to the left and lower onto the right cheek. And then you can release the hands, lifting them up and back, and think about the thumbs moving outward. So an inhale breath here, and you can lower, gazing over onto the left cheek. More of a challenge would be to lift here and lower onto the right cheek. And then reach, inhale. We're just gonna lower and gaze down. 3 more, whichever variation. Now bend the elbows and just rest up for a second, shaking everything out. And then we're gonna go into T arms. So the arms are gonna go out wide, hips stay onto the mat. And you're gonna lift slightly and then reach back and look over the right shoulder. So the key is you're not necessarily leaning back. You're just opening up through this right side, encouraging this rotation. And come back to the center. So an inhale, lift, reach this left arm looking back, and exhale, center. Inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. 3 more each side. In, exhale, in, inhale, one more. Good, and then place the hands back down. And to stretch it back, slide the hands wide on the mat, about the width of your chest, and lift the hip bones off. So we're gonna do a push-up from here, different than a yoga push-up or different than coming into cobra. So you're gonna lift the hips up, and you wanna lift the chest at the same time that the hips come up. And then lower back down and practice that again as best you can. Or you could tuck the toes under and have the legs lifted. So if you're holding frame, everything should come together in one unit. So keep the abdominals lifting up. We'll do 2 more. And then stretch it all the way back. And then roll it back up. We got another side. So we're gonna move over to the right side. For sake of filming, I'm just gonna rotate this way. So remember the setup, wrist in line with the shoulder. Hips come forward, stacking the toe in line with the knee here. And reach this arm up or onto the hip. Sometimes onto the hip, then you can kind of see if you do a little shifting with the pelvis. So, and the hips. So you're gonna lift up through this right side and take an inhale, point this left foot and lift, and flex and lower. So shine the heart, I'm catching myself on the look down. So point and lift, and flex and lower. If I lift too much, then this is where everything just kind of loses form. Point, lift, and then flex and lower. 2 more. Exhale, inhale, exhale, then lift and hold, and your leg sweep. So you're gonna point forward and flex back. So on the exhale, forward, upper body should stay real steady, and flex back. Exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale, 1 more, exhale, forward, and back, and then bicycle. So exhale, forward, bend the knee, and flex forward. Exhale, point, bring it back, inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale. Watch the position of the shoulder here. Right shoulder should stay back. And then reverse. So kick your butt here, hamstring curl, bring the knee forward without the hip coming up, and leg out and exhale. So point, flex, exhale, 3 more. In, exhale, in, exhale, 1 more. Inhale and exhale. Kick your butt and then lower the leg and push off with the right arm and reach this left arm. Take a big inhale and exhale. And then lift and again reach up through the right side. Inhale, exhale, One more, inhale, exhale. And then we're gonna come onto the forearm. So make sure keeping the shoulder blade back, the ribs lifted up, and the bottom leg bent, and the left leg nice and long. So you can have the hand on the hip, you've got your variations, other ideas. So we're gonna lift up through this side, make sure even though that right hip is working, you still wanna feel the obliques, and make sure that right shoulder stays back so there's not a lot of tension in the neck. So on the exhale, lift and lower. If you want a little bit more, keep that forearm active, stagger the legs, and lift, and inhale, exhale. Or if you want even more advanced, stack both legs. And reach the arms. 3 more. Exhale, 2, inhale, and 1. Then we're gonna start with the bottom leg bent, and lift up, and inhale, and thread. So make sure to exhale, breathe, exhale, and then inhale, gazing back. Exhale, and you've got your other variations. You can straighten the right leg, exhale, inhale, exhale, or you can stack the legs, inhale, 2 more. So inhale, 1 more, inhale, and then bring it all the way down. Bottom leg, you're gonna bend it and pull it up, and then top leg, bend it if you're able to access this position, and then reach the arm. Or if you have a pillow close by, place a pillow underneath so you can lift up and reach up and over. And then take another inhale breath and exhale, reaching up and over. 1 more, inhale and exhale. So we're gonna come onto our back side and roll all the way down. So you should be nice and warmed up going into bridging. So we're gonna start first, heels, ankles in line with the knees in line with the hips, and heels in line with the sit bones. And you're gonna inhale and imprint that lower back and begin to articulate up. So really activate through the core more than just pushing through the feet at this point. Then start to connect a little bit more through the hamstrings. Glutes should be assisting, and inhale here. So as you're in your bridge, instead of coming up too high, and not that that is incorrect, but for the sake of the Pilates practice today, we're gonna come down a little bit more. So just kind of sink down and think about lengthening, maybe finding more space here. And then on the exhale, articulate, and as you articulate down, really reach and lengthen out towards the knees. And then again, imprint and articulate up and inhale. And exhale, articulate back down. So we're gonna do 6 more. Your option is to do 3 with a single leg. So the single leg could be bent or straight. And articulate up, inhale, and articulate down. And you wanna try to hit bottom at the same time as best you can. In and exhale. 1 more, inhale and exhale. And then we're gonna do the 3 on the other, or continue with both legs. Articulate up and exhale. And this is good to do single leg because we normally have a more dominant leg. And make sure the hips stay nice and long. 1 more, inhale and exhale. So tuck the knees in, give it a nice little hug. And we did earlier the roll like the ball. So see if you can either come over to one side or rock and roll yourself all the way up. And we're gonna come to a kneeling position, how we started, or in the beginning. And then walking the feet back and landing into your plank. So you can have the knees down, shoulder blades back, and then keep the abdominals pulling up. So really knit the legs close in together, a little tuck of the pelvis so you're not dumping into the shoulders. So let's just make sure the arrangement is active and proper. Take 1 more inhale breath and start to make little tiny steps forward, pushing yourself away from the mat. And then drop the heels where it feels really divine. Just soften the knees here and walk the hands back, maybe even bending the elbows and just hanging into a forward fold. A little sway side to side is always a nice idea. Relaxing the head even a little bit more. And then release the hands. Make sure you're really even with the distribution of weight with both feet. And then continue to activate through the abdominals and straighten the legs and round through the spine and use your abdominals to come up all the way. So take an inhale and a nice stretch back, opening up through the heart, and bring the arms into heart center. Thank you for joining me today. I hope you learned something new about your body and nice and warm like my body is at this point. I'm Emily Wenzel with K-Pop Pilates and Wellness. Thank you for joining.